Day for the statewide secretary elections forum. A special thank you to Kathleen Cotter, longtime MAPE member, for joining us today for this elections forum. She's also a member of the elections committee. And we're delighted to have her.
Hi, everyone. Your eyes are not deceiving you. I did retire last year, but you just can't get rid of me. Once a MAPE member, always a MAPE member. I served Minnesota's kids for nearly 30 years in the Department of Human Services and the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, and I'm happy to serve my union in any way I can. Before getting to the candidates and questions, we'll first cover some housekeeping, a bit of the basics of the statewide secretary position, as well as the logistics and rules of the forum.
This forum is being recorded and will be available soon on the MAPE website and YouTube channel. If you missed last week's political council forum, you can find the recording on the website already. MAPE elections open on December 5th, which is tomorrow, and close on December 15th. You'll receive a ballot via email from Big Pulse, who we use as a secure third party to conduct our voting. You will vote for statewide, region, and local positions, all within the same ballot. The email will go to your state email. You will have until December 15th to vote. There are more than 2 candidates in both statewide races, so we will use preferential voting, also known as ranked choice voting, for both the political council and the statewide secretary races. This means you'll get to rank the 3 candidates 1 through 3, with 1 being your first choice, and so on. This style of voting ensures a candidate wins with at least 50% of the vote. Voting will begin, once again, on December 5th. We want to plug another major event coming up. MAPE will once again be hosting Lobby Days 2026. Lobby Days will look a little bit different in 26 to create a more targeted approach. There will be a MAPE rally on the Capitol lawn, write this down, on Tuesday, March 24th at noon. March 24th at noon. MAPE members living in Senate Districts 1 through 31, Greater Minnesota, will have all their legislative meetings scheduled for March 24th, the same day as the MAPE rally at the Capitol. Members living in Senate Districts 32 through 67 will have their meetings scheduled on different days throughout the month of March. Please plan on attending, because it's important that legislators hear our stories. More information will be on the website at mape.org and in upcoming newsletters. It's now time to begin the statewide secretary election forum. A little bit about the secretary position. The secretary shall keep a record of the proceedings of the delegate assembly, the board of directors, and the executive committee, maintain all the records of MAPE, and perform other related duties as directed by the board of directors. The secretary is also the chair of the governance committee.
This year, 3 fellow MAPE members are running for the statewide secretary position. Local 1402's Ariel Johnson, Local 301's Katie Taylor, and Local 401's Michael Yost. This is your opportunity to ask them questions. You can submit questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If we run out of time to answer all the questions, you can also email the candidates directly. Each candidate will have 90 seconds for opening and closing statements, as well as 60 or 90 seconds for each question. You will get a 10-second warning before your time is up. When your time is up, your microphone will be muted. Candidates will wait until they are prompted to unmute and show their video. Only 1 candidate will have their video and microphone on at a time. A reminder that all candidates should conduct their campaigns in a manner that promotes the welfare of MAPE. Special thank you to Stephanie.
No
Special
way.
thank you to me for being the timekeeper today. Okay. We are now looking forward to having 3 candidates introduce themselves to you and explain why they would like to serve as MAPE's statewide secretary. Let's get started. Let's turn now to the introductory statements. Welcome. Ariel Johnson, you have 90 seconds for your introductory statement.
First off, I want to apologize to our members because when I tried to get the word out about my candidacy, I contacted local presidents using state email. This was inadvertent at my part as I did not read the election rules closely enough, and it should be noted that campaign emails cannot be sent to or from any state email. Upon realizing my mistake, I took steps to mitigate the error on my own by attending only meetings in which all three candidates, per the election rules, were invited. I apologize again, and this won't happen again. I'm currently the local 1402 president, regional steward co-director for Region 14, and vice chair to the Employee Rights Committee. I was also a negotiator for the 23-25 contract cycle. A large problem that I see with MAPE that I want to address is the struggle with transparency and communication and lack of training, which is something that was apparent with the election rules. It's a good example of this. I want to empower our members to get involved and to make their voices heard because our union is a democracy. This year's delegate assembly highlights my concerns of transparency, accountability, communication, and equity in MAPE. A group of delegates demanded that democracy be protected only to amend the agenda to insert a fifth resolution, and I wonder how many members had not been informed of that. When I attempted to make an amendment to the out-of-state travel resolution to create a paper trail of accountability, I was told I was micromanaging and it was too much work to fill out a form that included a 150-word summary as to how the event would benefit our union and our members. I sought to implement a means of transparency and accountability to protect our members' investments, and yet the amendment was denied. My goals, if elected as statewide secretary, are to address amending bylaws, supporting updating technology, and to ensure equitable communication and to implement paper trails to ensure accountability, transparency, and integrity within our union. Thank you.
Next up is Local 301's Katie Taylor.
Hi, everyone. My name is Katie Taylor, and I'm running to be MAPE's next statewide secretary. 4 years ago, I left my non-union private sector job for state service. I wanted to be part of something bigger and build power in my workplace and my community. Since then, I've served as a dedicated advocate for workers' rights in many MAPE roles, including Meet and Confer Chair, LCAT, Delegate, Coalition Building Work Group member, mentor, and overall campaign organizer. As the Meet and Confer Chair for the Pollution Control Agency, I have increased our visibility and engagement through consistent communication, actions, and training rank and file members to really lead the change themselves. I've led my team to major wins at our agency, including implementing the student loan reimbursement program, securing fair reclassifications, and demanding ADA process improvements. I also initiated quarterly updates to all staff, built solidarity with other unions leaders at our agency like AFSCME, and improved connection with our regional PCA staff. As a mentor, I've helped grow new leaders in my local and my agency. I lead by example, and I step back when new leaders are ready to step forward. I know sometimes all we need is opportunity and encouragement. I'm proud of the community we've built. In my day job as a policy expert in wastewater, I bridge divides between programs and with competing goals and interests by creating environments of respect and trust. I'm excited to bring my communication, organizing, conflict resolution skills to the secretary role.
A third candidate to speak and give opening remarks is Local 401's Michael Yost.
Good afternoon, MAPE. I'm Michael Yost. I'm running for statewide secretary because I love this union. I want to see it achieve its potential as a fighting union, which can win the demands of our members. I have the benefit of experience since I currently serve as Local 401 secretary. I pride myself on putting out minutes which are timely and comprehensible, and I hope to bring transparency to the statewide level as well. I'm also a steward, delegate, and contract action team leader, or LCAT. You can find my website at michaelformape.com and contact me at michaelformape@gmail.com. We face a host of challenges as a union. We're up against hostile elected officials. Our pay has stagnated for decades, and we haven't organized a strike in even longer. Return to Office is funneling millions of dollars into office real estate in St. Paul, money that could avert layoffs. These problems all stem from the same central issue, a lack of power. Many members find MAPE difficult to engage because they don't see themselves or their values reflected in our union. I have the vision to bring new voices into the process. In 401, we've recruited 80 new members in the last year thanks to regular membership blitzes and robust onboarding. My local has the largest contract action team in the state and the highest turnout at Lobby Day this year. We filled every one of our delegate and alternate slots. We've succeeded because we've prioritized intentional one-on-one conversations where we center avenues for change, telling our members, here's how you can engage to make a difference. We need to bring that spirit to the statewide level, and if you elect me as secretary, I will work
10
tirelessly to
seconds.
do so. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Another reminder, if you have a question for our candidates, please submit them using the Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom screen. It is now time to go to some of the questions you have sent us. MAPE's Suzanne is reviewing the questions and providing them to Stephanie and me to ask the candidates.
So here's our first question. What makes you want to get more involved in our union? You have 90 seconds for your answer. And first up is Katie Taylor. Katie, the floor is yours.
What makes you want to get more involved? Really, our incredibly difficult contract negotiation cycle combined with the unilateral decision making by our governor signaled to me like it's time to step up. I saw that when we didn't have a dedicated secretary at that time, the miscommunication, the misinformation, and the kind of general chaos was really increased. So knowing the importance of that role during that time, I want to be able to fill that into the future. The negotiation cycle was intentionally cruel, right? And designed to divide our power. Our negotiators did an incredible job in fending off those attacks, but it was clear to me that damage was made. We have some fissures, some breakages that we need to come back together. I know that my skills in conflict resolution that I get from my day job, my facilitation, my listening, and kind of leaning into conflict can really help bridge those divisions that we see in our union. So we can be more powerful, have a say at the governor's office, the legislative level, at our own agencies, and really push for real change for us and all of Minnesota. So this is really my inspiration and my motivation for why I want to step up and become your next statewide secretary. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next up will be Michael Yost.
Unmute. What makes me want to get more involved? I wouldn't say that running for secretary will make me more involved. I'm already highly involved in our union. I think what will be different if I'm elected secretary is that instead my efforts will be cast at a broader level than kind of what I can accomplish at a local level. I think I have a highly functioning local when, I was weighing up the decision whether to run for statewide secretary or not. 2 candidates accepted nominations to run for the local secretary spot, which I currently serve in. So I've seen where a union can work well, and I want to make all of MAPE kind of have that spirit of inclusion and accessibility that ensures that every one of our members has the ability to access our union and to make change in their lives, whether that's, on issues like return to office or the student loans or whatever else. As an LCAT, I've seen kind of firsthand some of the challenges we face and some of the areas where MAPE is not doing so well. So I think one problem that MAPE faces, obviously we're a huge union. We represent 18,000 people. Single agencies are divided across many different locals, and there's a lack of communication and coordination. There's a lot of uneven participation in MAPE. And so I want to bring people in and include more people into the process and bring new voices to the table. So I hope I get the chance to do that.
Thank you. Our third and final candidate is Ariel Johnson.
I wanted to get more involved because the reason why I first became involved with the union is because I wanted to find a sense of community. I found that and so much more. And after I was negotiator, the energy that I found in being a negotiator and having that teamwork and that sense of not having to fight alone, I wanted to bring back to my region. Now that we've got that energy back in Region 14, which is the arrowhead of Minnesota, we're starting to see a lot of leaders step up. And it's really empowering for me to keep going and to keep fighting for our union and for our members and our families and communities. With that, though, is sometimes people don't necessarily see themselves as leaders. And so in part of the reason why I'm seeking the statewide secretary position is to kind of pull myself out of my local, out of my region, to allow space for new leaders to step up to have new energy and new voices to represent our region. I also want to represent Greater Minnesota, as right now there's a lot of Metro voices being heard through the statewide level of MAPE. We have a lot of varying interests, and a lot of different opinions, and I feel that Greater Minnesota needs that representation at the statewide level within MAPE. So that's why I'm challenging myself to step up to be more involved at the statewide level, is to, again, provide opportunities for more leaders from Region 14 to step up into those positions, and also to challenge myself to ensure that Greater Minnesota is represented at the statewide level, and to hopefully in the process encourage more members to get involved. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Time to go to our second question. As we mentioned earlier, the role of statewide secretary is to keep a record of the proceedings of the delegate assembly, the board of directors, and the executive committee, maintain all records of MAPE, and perform other related duties as directed by the board of directors. Besides these responsibilities, how would you shape your role? You have 90 seconds for your answer. Michael, you are up first.
Great. I love this question. I want to make MAPE more transparent and accessible from top to bottom. I want to create standard operating procedures and position descriptions. Our bylaws that you read at the beginning of the meeting, they give basic descriptions, but oftentimes they're ambiguous and vague in a lot of ways about responsibility, basic things like communication, who has responsibility for like newsletters and things like that aren't defined anywhere. So we need to create some policies. I also want to attend a lot of local meetings. One of the big benefits of running for statewide office is that I've attended, probably 25 local meetings in the last month. And I want to see what locals are up to, what they're worried about, and what they need help with, and serve as a bridge between the local and the statewide level. Finally, I want to give directors more tools. The board of directors is a key decision-making body. It's the highest one outside of delegate assembly. I think every board member should get the benefit of the kind of parliamentary training that I already have. Robert's rules can feel arcane and inaccessible, but mastering it is kind of like a magic power that helps leaders ensure that every voice is heard. And that's really my goal as running for secretary, is just to make sure that we're constantly bringing new people into the process and making sure that all viewpoints are heard and that we can deliberate in a powerful way. Thank you.
Ariel, you're up second. Floor is yours.
So as I mentioned in my opening statement, I feel that transparency through paper trails and historical records are vital in ensuring that people are kept kind of in the loop in terms of communication. So with that, MAPE has been working on trying to better our technology that we use, not only for the website to ensure that information is easily accessible to people, but also in terms of how do we keep records, especially when we use spreadsheets and, they're live documents that everyone's updating or trying to access. Right now, the technology that we have is just not capable of what we need in order to ensure clear communication to our members and also from our members too. So in part of the secretary position, if I were elected, is to again, look at those technology needs, find what we need to ensure equitable and easily accessible means to information, but also to create paper trails and historical records to ensure that there is accountability and transparency as we move forward with addressing things such as our technology needs, the clear communication, and also addressing some of the bylaws that might be contradictory or just need some changes to address what MAPE needs to do on the daily. So those are kind of my, again, focuses of ensuring transparency, clear communication, and equitability for all of our members.
Thank you. Katie, you have the final spot.
Thank you. So in addition to regular records management, making sure our agendas are accessible and our website is up to date, I see kind of two buckets for the things that I'd like to explore as secretary. The first is organizing. I want to expand our organizing chops and really make a MAPE the organizing machine it can be. I've learned immense information through my work on the 32-hour workweek campaign on how to build a campaign and get 2,500, signees onto a petition, right? What does that look like? That there's no shortcuts in organizing. from smaller campaigns within my own agency, right? And helping elevate those and move those forward and build power. So I want to bring those organizing chops to the secretary role as best I can. The other side of it is I have been already looking into where gaps exist, right? I've set up a one-on-one form for members to reach out to me to have a conversation to say, hey, what are you hearing? What are you missing? What resources do you need to be most effective as a rank and file member and to make change? So looking at those opportunities and elevating them to the statewide level. I also reached out on my personal email to all of the board members to see like, hey, the exec team and the board members
10
need to
seconds.
work together well. What's missing and how can I help that and start making those plans? So thank you.
Another reminder, if you have a question for our candidates, please submit questions using the Q&A box at the bottom of your Zoom screen. All right, thanks everyone. Time to go on to the third question. As a voting member of the executive team, what issues would you like to see our union tackle? You've already addressed some of these, but the official question is, as a voting member of the executive team, what issues would you like to see our union tackle? You have 90 seconds to respond. Ariel, you're first up.
So I've mentioned quite a few things that I feel should be addressed with MAPE, the bylaws being a large one, just because, again, it ensures that there's accountability and transparency to our members. I think a big one that we've been working on in my region, at least, is finding ways to find common ground where all of our members typically stand to create solidarity versus focusing on divisiveness, especially in terms of politics. So for me, being a voting member of the executive committee would again allow the opportunity to ensure that all people are heard. All of our members have the opportunity to express their opinions in a safe manner where they feel heard and not necessarily just kind of outed if they have a differing opinion. So especially since, again, the Arrowhead region of Minnesota is pretty diverse in its politics and its opinions. I feel sometimes that some of our members' voices are silenced in some ways, or they just don't feel that they can safely communicate their opinions. So as a voting member, I would want to ensure that we can address means that are productive, that everyone feels heard, that everyone has the opportunity to voice their opinions, whether through forms. Even during delegate assembly, I created a Microsoft form to get feedback from members so they could do it in a relatively anonymous way, but still have the opportunity to provide their opinions. So that would be my goal as a voting member of the executive committee.
Thank you. Katie, you're next. The microphone's all yours.
So in addition to the regular roles of the secretary, I would make sure to vote on things that our rank and file members bring forward. I really believe in the power of a rank and file led union. So I work to create those spaces so our rank and file members can bring issues and their concerns to us, their organizing efforts to us, and vote to help elevate those concerns and those really organizing things. Another piece that is less related to secretary, but really crucial to us this year is increasing revenue at the state level. And we're seeing that happen with our political council. We're seeing that happen with our caucusing work, as well as our more strategic approaches to lobby day. And I'm really excited to see how those would go. So I'd be supportive of efforts that help bolster that effort, those actions, right? We have our budget set the year before we go into negotiations. So we need to increase that. So we have more to negotiate on. And we're not taking the piece of that pizza, right? Make the pizza bigger. Lastly, I will promise you all that I will be supportive of any votes and bring them forward that increase our transparency and our accountability to ourselves, as well as our rank and file members. There's a million things going on that we're distracted by. So if we have the resources to track and follow up, I'll vote for those things. Thank you.
Michael, you're third.
Thanks. So the issues that I want to see our union tackle, I don't want to be like a mirror, but I do agree with the basic thrust of what Katie argued. I think the role of leadership is to highlight the issues that our members bring forward. We're not there to dictate what to members, like what should be important to them. It's to empower members to take action for themselves, to build coalitions with their coworkers, and to make change. So one example where I think that this is really important is the resolution process for delegate assembly. That was raised earlier by Ariel, and I will, fully admit that I was part of that group that wanted to add to the resolutions that were heard at delegate assembly this year. 14 resolutions from 5 authors were submitted this year. The final count of resolutions that got to delegate assembly after all of the process and bureaucracy was 4 resolutions from 2. So down from 14 resolutions from 5 to 4 resolutions from 2 authors, one of which was mine. I organized an effort to add a 5th to stand up for our immigrant coworkers, for our non-citizen members of MAPE, to make sure that we are protecting their rights just as vigorously as we would protect the rights of citizens. Some progress has already been made on the resolution process. We finally have a fully filled Constitution and Rules Committee with a newly improved budget, but we need to make the process less bureaucratic so that subjective disagreements don't turn into reasons to shut down debate entirely.
Thank you, everyone. Organizing will be major focus of MAPE next year. What are some of your ideas about how to engage new members? You've got 90 seconds for your answer, and Michael, you're first this time.
Sorry, just for clarity, you said to engage new members or to
engage new members? Yes.
So people who have just joined MAPE.
What are some of your ideas about how to engage new members?
Yeah, so this is like the central challenge of organizing, right? Is that there's kind of a disconnect between lots of members, support the union. We have something like a 2/3 membership rate among state workers, but the pool of people who actually engage with statewide leadership and who bring forth resolutions and everything else is quite a lot smaller. So that's an important question. And it starts with one-on-one conversations. Obviously, the secretary can't do this all alone, but one-on-one conversations where you do a strong effort at issue identification, learning the values and issues that are important to those members, and tying that issue that they care about, whatever it is, to how the union can help them confront that problem. So if they say, we're not getting paid enough, and that's the feeling of a lot of people, certainly in MAPE. We need to be talking about, okay, how do you join the contract action team to make sure that when we go up for contract negotiations every 2 years, that this is made an issue? How do we bring people into the political process? We do those structured one-on-one organizing conversations that tie their political issue to what the union can do. So we need trainings, and we need conversations, and we need trainings to help people have those conversations.
Thank you. Ariel, you're next. Take it away.
I would agree with Michael on that. The conversations and having the training to be able to connect with our members is vital. An important part of that, though, is understanding what our members' concerns and missions are and finding that common ground. So rather than having 2/3 of people support our union, we have preferably 100%. So with that, again, finding common ground, which most people, when talking to folks, when I was doing calling during the rallies and, during negotiations, the main focuses are wages, healthcare, and working conditions. Those things support not only ourselves as workers, they support our families, they support the work-life balance, and they support our communities in that as well. So for me, I really would want to focus on ensuring that our members have the ability to bring those things forward. So that way new members feel that they can be heard and that they focus on, again, kind of the bread and butter of what makes a union and to ensure democracy. So I want to make it clear, when it came to the resolution that was added, my concern wasn't about the resolution itself, but was rather about the democracy of, did our members know? Our members have a right to know what's happening at the statewide level, and they have a right to be part of that process. With that, though, we have to respect that when a decision is made, that there was a reason as to why. And again, with organizing, bringing people in, Michael's absolutely right that if we want to bring things forward, we do need organization. But that also means that when people say no to things, there's probably a reason why. We need to respect our members' opinions across the state. Thank you.
Katie, you'll have the last word on this question.
Thank you. Yes, rank and file organizing is going to be super important and is super important to engaging and bringing in our new members. I firmly believe in the power of a one-to-one conversation, and giving folks the tools to determine our whys and to get at a deeper level of why. I think most of us, if you asked what our main concerns were across MAPE, wages, healthcare, working conditions. But I want to get at what else is driving our why, and really push, folks to think about their core values and what's important to them, and then connect those people. And you can only do that through a one-on-one, right? So along with that one-on-one, I can't meet with 18,000 people. So I'd work with our membership secretaries. Those are the folks that are getting out every day, bringing in new members, and then reconnecting with members after they join, right? So picking the brains of those folks to see what works, spreading that, allowing that space for our membership secretaries to share out their lessons learned and how we can improve our organizing will be something I'd really like to push forward. I'll use an example of a meet and confer organizing. Oh, I won't use an example of a meet and confer organizing then. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now going to the next member question. What are some effective strategies you would use to form and support our external partnerships? What does that look like? What are the specific steps you would take to do that? 90-second answers, please. Michael, you are up first.
Great. Give me 1 second to respond to a comment that was made earlier. To clear up some confusion, adding that delegate assembly resolution, I emailed every single delegate, alternate, board member, statewide officer about this resolution prior to delegate assembly. Everyone who attended delegate assembly knew about it and had the opportunity to engage with their membership and their members about that issue. It's not undemocratic to vote at delegate assembly by elected officers to add something to the agenda. That is democracy in practice. As for our external partnership, the number one way I think we can do this is by building coalitions with first other labor unions for other community partnerships, whether that's neighborhood organizations or, whatever. The community alliances that I've helped build, just in the last year, I've walked picket lines with the Minneapolis Federation of Educators, Teamsters 320, the SEIU Doctors Council. I'm hoping to get us to a Starbucks picket line soon, but I have donated to their strike fund. I helped organize the Public Sector Summit with members from MMA, MAPE, and AFSCME. I volunteered in phone banking and letter writing for the Delta Airlines unionization campaign. These things matter because when we show up for others, they show up for us. Other unions and other organizations need to know that MAPE is a partner for them and that we can help them, and they need to be able to help us.
Thank you. Second is Ariel.
So on par with Michael, again, like being there for other unions and hoping that they will be there for us is definitely a key point. In Region 14, we've done a lot of that. We partake in the annual Labor Day event as well as the annual Labor Day or May Day event to show our solidarity with our other unions as well as our community, to kind of put MAPE out there to show that we are here for the community. So those are free picnic events that allow the community to come and interact with us. But in the process, we also have the opportunity to build networks and collaboration with other unions. We have also supported the MNA, the nurses union, when they have been on strike up in Essentia, as well as being there for AFSCME folks when there's been potential shutdowns, such as at the Carleton Care Facility, and then also some of the correctional facilities such as Togo. And there is one other one that I can't think of off the top of my head. But just being there to show that we stand in solidarity across not only our shared common ground things of, again, work-life balance and fair pay, but also just to support our communities. Things like the Carlton Care Facility would have impacted people not only in MAPE, but also with AFSCME, and it greatly impacts the community of which it serves. So being there to stand with those people and our communities will help us in developing our collaborations with other unions, which will strengthen us as we go into things such as negotiations. Thank you.
10 seconds. The microphone now goes to Katie.
Thank you. I think I will start this one by just making sure that I know and that we all need to remember that our true fights are outside of our own union, right? With MMB, with a governor that interferes, with our legislative body that pulls our funds, with the federal administration pulling back our funding, right? I know we all want what is best for our union, and I promise to make sure that when I come into situations, I'm not influenced and biased by my own opinions. I'll listen to you all. That being said, outside, coalitions are really deeply important to our work. Like Michael said, when we show up for others, they show up for us. And we have a lot of existing resources to tap into to elevate this relationship with our outside union siblings. One of them being the coalition building work group. I'm a member on that, and we are constantly getting invitations to attend picket lines, to show up for teachers, to show up for Minneapolis park workers as part of our coalition, loud and proud, wearing our MAPE t-shirts. So elevating those opportunities and bringing more folks in will be important for me in the secretary role. On my own time too, with the 32-hour work week, we have had a lot of successful outside engagement. One of them being a really successful event at the Eastside Freedom Library this past year. So looking for opportunities to share ideas and resources with others. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Suzanne, do you have a question for us? It'll be a 60-second one.
Yes. So these are the question and answers that folks who are online have submitted. The first question is, please provide an example of how you have successfully worked with people who have different opinions than you to make progress on a difficult issue.
Thank you for the question. First up is Ariel. You've got 60 seconds.
So as I noted, my region is pretty diverse in its political interests. We have the Iron Range, which is typically more right-leaning, and then we have the North Shore, which is more typically left-leaning. With that, though, the important thing that I found, such as when I did political calling during the last election cycle, was rather than telling people who to vote for and why, asking them, who are you voting for and why? Primarily looking for the why, that common ground. There's always going to be moments of disagreement, but the thing that we really need to focus on as a union is what brings us together. What as union members brings us together where we are willing to go out on the strike line, where we are willing to go out and rally, or even do phone banking. We need to find the things that bring us together to create that solidarity and not the things that divide us. It's difficult. Democracy is definitely messy, but that's what also makes us very unique and very powerful. When we bring people's opinions and voices in, it makes us more powerful by finding that strength in what we do agree on.
Thank you. Next up is Katie.
The question is an example of a time we resolved conflict, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Right, I deal with this on a daily basis, and it's something that I don't shy away from. So I approach conflict in not an avoidant way, but neither a combative way. I really think it's important to lean in and ask why, and get at that deeper motivation, and encourage that discourse. Right. One example I'll use from my job. So I work in wastewater policy, and one of the topics we look at is sulfate in wild rice. Wild rice is incredibly important to our tribal nations as a cultural resource. I went up to a symposium on wild rice, full room, the only representative from my agency, and had a bunch of tribal elders that have deep respect in their communities glare at me and call me names.
10 seconds.
And listening, sitting there, respecting opinions and engaging in an honest and open and vulnerable way restored those. And we made friends at the end of that conference.
All right, next we go. Michael.
Yeah, I like this this question. The example that I'll point to is my work in passing a student fees bill in Florida. Before I joined MAPE, before I worked for the state of Minnesota, I was a graduate student in at FSU in economics in Tallahassee, Florida. I don't know how many people know about the political situation in Florida, but it's unified Republican control. People who are generally quite hostile, not just to organized labor, but to public workers, students, and educators. But despite those profound, difficult disagreements, we were still able to get a student fees bill passed through both houses of the Florida legislature. I like to joke that organizing in
10 seconds.
Florida was organizing on hard mode compared to Minnesota. But I'm not afraid of it. It starts with having, sharing the common values. What do we agree on? And then building outward from there, not focusing on the disagreements, but where we have common ground.
Thank you, thank you. Suzanne, do you have another question for us? It will be a 60-second answer.
Sure do. The next one is, how will you help channel the anger and frustration MAPE members are feeling into union engagement and involvement?
60 seconds. Michael, can you go first on this one, please?
Yeah, great question. Obviously, I've already said I was a leader of the contract action team in Local 401. Yeah, immediately we were when the governor's RTO order dropped. We were, one of the locals that was probably most affected by it. Revenue has a lot of unglamorous jobs, things like tax collection. That are not people that there's very high turnover in tax collection, and people kept this job because of what that what that benefit meant for them, how they could participate in the workforce if they had a disability or whatever else. And so people felt profound anger when that happened, and so immediately we channeled them in kind of two directions. The first immediate impact was
10 seconds.
protest at the governor's mansion. That same week, we turned out hundreds of our members to that. Secondly, join the contract action team, bring them in, talk to your coworkers. It's not good enough just to have a strong opinion. You have to bring other people along with you.
Thank you. Next is Ariel.
So what I've told a lot of people in my region is if you're angry, then get involved. Whether that's, again, having meet and greets at your office place, maybe it's joining a rally, maybe it's phone banking, but if you're angry, use that power to do something about it. And that prime example that I have of that is one of my coworkers. So I work at the Fond du Lac Travel and Community College, so we have a in-house meet and confer. One of my coworkers was very against joining the union, never thought he ever would, but he was so angry about the telework situation on our campus, he became a member so he could be part of the meet and confer, so we could make changes on our campus. That is their finding, where people are, the common ground, what they are angry at, and giving them the tools and resources to use that anger to do something about it and to feel empowered to be able to do something where they have, some sort of sense of control of, I can be part of this, I can make the change I want to see, and I'm going to do something about this because I am angry about it. So just giving people the tools and resources they need to change that anger into action.
Thank you. Katie, you're up.
Yeah, there's been a lot of things to be angry about this year. I think anger is an incredible motivator, but it's not the only motivator, right? We can have motivation from joy, from fear, from any emotions. And unions are places where emotions run high because it's really personal to us. It's our livelihood. But for anger specifically, it's really important to give space for those feelings to be let out, so we can make sure that we're facing situations with clear, level-headed approaches, right? So give that space for that member who's really angry to be angry and listen, and then say, okay, what are we going to do about it? Here are some ideas. I hear this specific issue. Here's somebody else in a different local and a different agency that has that same issue. Let's get together. Let's start talking, and let's start figuring out our most logical approach forward to get the result that we want from our anger, and to not just act out quickly and irrationally, right? Focus on that anger into action. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Time for one more member question before we go on to closing statements. Suzanne?
Yes. The secretary has a role on the executive committee and board that has a major role in the interactions with and within the work environment, I think is what it was meant to say, for MAPE staff. How will you encourage a healthy member staff situation and improve the existing relationship?
Katie, please go first.
Yeah, that's a really important question. I'll start by saying I have immense respect for our MAPE staff, and I've learned so much from the ones that are directly related to me and my work and the ones who just step up when I have questions. So my plan for this is again to lean into where these conflicts are coming from in a space that is respectful and open and willing to adapt and change as we get new information. We're not all privy to everything that is going on at the staff level with contract negotiations for them, rightly so. So I'll make sure to come into this role, get all of the information, and make sure I have everything that I need to know, and ask questions and be transparent and hold people accountable when
10
things
seconds.
are said that they shouldn't be, and not maybe in a respectful way. And create that culture of respect and gratefulness for our staff and the work that they do.
Thank you. Michael, if you could go next, please. You've got 60 seconds.
Yeah, I'm proud to stand with our staff. They are vital parts of the organizing that we do every day in MAPE. And I feel pretty strongly that, as a labor union, MAPE should be a great place to work. And sadly, that has seemingly not been the case. There was a climate survey done of MAPE staff, I think, a year or two ago. And it just showed kind of plummeting morale among all MAPE staff members. And I think the central part of that is kind of a lack of trust and dialogue. So the first piece is just rebuilding that trust with staff. If you talk to business agents outside of their work 9 to 5 at MAPE, they'll tell you that their morale and workload is unsustainable. I've had the benefit of having quite a lot of one-on-one conversations with lots of different business agents and MAPE staff recently. I hope I can be a trusted voice. Obviously, there's going to be tension between a boss and workers, which the EC is the boss of MAPE's business agents, but you have to be working collaboratively, you have to listen, and you have to, rebuild that trust.
Thank you. Ariel?
I agree with both what Michael and Katie have to say. And I would say there's 3 values in my life that I think would really carry over into this situation, and that's empathy, resiliency, and hope. So with empathy, we have to have empathy for what folks are going through. Sometimes when we're in our day-to-day life, we don't necessarily take the time to tell our stories or to listen to other people's stories of what they're going through. I think that would help with recreating that trust, developing that sense of respect, and that environment that we need to be productive in ensuring that our MAPE staff and our executive team work in collaboration, because we need that if we're going to be successful in negotiations and with supporting our union daily. With that resiliency, conflict, it does feel like it's an uphill battle sometimes. We have to have the resiliency to have productive conversations and not just point the finger. That takes a lot of time to, again, within that trust and that developing respect. But with that, all of that develops hope. And that's what I hope that we can develop within not only our union amongst, members, with the executive team and with staff, is we are all in this for a reason, and it's to make our workplace and our communities a better place to work and live.
Thank you. Okay, now it is time for everyone to give closing statements. You'll each have 90 seconds for this. We will reverse the order from the opening statement. So that means Michael is first. Michael, the floor is yours.
Great. I want to thank the elections committee, Stephanie and Kathleen, as well as MAPE staff, Paige, Cynthia, Suzanne, and Liz for putting on this forum, giving me the opportunity to address our members directly. Over the last hour, we've heard from tremendous candidates who would all bring different qualities and experiences to the role of statewide secretary. I genuinely believe you can't go wrong voting for any of us. That said, I do hope you will rank me first on your ballot when voting starts tomorrow. I'm not running because I think I alone can save us or fix all the problems in MAPE. Selection's bigger than me. It's about what kind of union we want. I lead with my values. I believe firmly in accountability and inclusion, and that a union is only as strong as we make it together. We know MAPE will not change overnight. It's going to take participation from everyone. So what can I promise? I promise to be transparent and approachable. I will include as many voices as possible in decision making. Minutes, agendas, and meeting dates will be on our website in a timely manner. I'll ensure that when MAPE Central takes action, you aren't finding out about it weeks or months after the fact. I will fight to make sure DA resolution process is supportive for any member who wants to enact change in MAPE. I will be attentive to the needs of all of our members in Greater Minnesota, not just the Metro. In short, I want to make MAPE a union that we can all be proud of. I'd be honored to have your support and your vote, and I appreciate your consideration and time. Thank you all.
Next up is Katie.
Thank you all. I'll echo what Michael said to all the work that goes into running these forums. It's gone really smoothly, and that's large part for all the staff and the volunteers who are helping make this forum run. So thank you. It's been great to talk with you all. So my vision for MAPE is a union that has an equal voice at the decision table at period and stop. A union that has respect and recognition from our agency leaders, the governor's office, and our elected officials, and that can restore the decision-making power to us, the hands of the working people. To achieve this, we have to put in the work to build a union grounded in trust, accountability, and transparency. Our members need to feel welcome, heard, and have the support they need to turn their actions into, turn their ideas into real actions. The secretary can and should play an integral role into achieving this. At its most essential, the secretary is a record keeper and a communicator, right? We're responsible for effective and transparent two-way communication between our rank and file members and our elected leaders. This looks like up-to-date agendas, making sure our website is accessible, incorporating meeting norms so we can just move through our meetings in a more easy way and have an understanding of what we can expect in a respectful way. And doing this, let's see. I am just hopeful that I will have your vote. Like Michael said, it's ranked choice. I would love your number one and have the opportunity to bring my skill sets and my organizing chops to the table and help build a union with you all that we can be proud of. So thank you.
Ariel, you have the third spot.
So I want to echo what they said. Thank you to the MAPE staff and the election committee for putting this on. I also want to thank the members for either listening in live or for looking at the recording later on to ensure that you have the information you need to make the best choice that you feel is needed for our union. If we are going to fight for better wages, affordable health care, safer working environments, and the contract we deserve, we are going to need a union that stands in solidarity with the voices of its members. I joined MAPE as a new parent to find a sense of community. I was a negotiator when I became a single parent, and despite the frustrations of negotiating with MMB, I knew I wasn't fighting alone. When the world felt too heavy to carry, I had the support of our union to the point of having a literal shoulder to cry on. This past fall, when my ex-fiance kicked my son and I out, it was MAPE members that helped me move everything in one day to ensure that my son and I were safe. That is the power of a union. It is the strength in numbers, the empathy for one another, the resiliency to stand together, and the hope that we can make a better life for each other, our families, and our communities. Democracy is messy, but it's through our shared values and where we stand on common ground that we find our solidarity. If elected as statewide secretary, I promise to stand with our members, just as many of you have stood by me. I promise to make our members' voices heard by providing transparent communication, accountability of our leaders, and equity and empowerment to our members. Together, we are MAPE, and together we will make our union stronger. Thank you.
Thanks to all of you. This wraps up MAPE's statewide secretary election forum. A big thank you to all of the candidates who participated today and all of you who watched or will be watching and those who sent in questions. MAPE elections take place beginning tomorrow, December 5th, through December 15th. So make sure you vote for the candidate who impressed you the most today for the statewide secretary position. Thanks again for watching, and thanks for all you do for Minnesota and MAPE. Have a good rest of your afternoon.